been going on for 7 years.
You had me convicted
this
as an
verbal
adult.
abuse of constant. And the reason I cut you and block you off the phone is just swear at me and call me names.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Doctor.
Have you ruined your son's life?
I do not feel I've ruined my son's life. There are people out there, and I've said this several times, who have felony convictions, who have a job and are working and have families and have careers. So I do not feel I've ruined his life.
Well, let's assume, for argument's sake, okay, I'm not saying this is true, just hypothetically. Let's assume you did negatively impact his life. Was that your intention?
My intention was to get my son some help, and I actually had fear.
In the moment?
In the moment, yes.
Okay, you guys actually went to court. You went to trial. You testified.
Right. As I thought that they would give him some anger management courses, which he had never taken in the past, and that was my intention.
How'd that work out?
It did not work out because it's just escalated ever since.
So has he fixated on that one thing?
Yes, he is fixated on that one conviction. It is all my fault. I've had my life threatened. He even threatened the governor. He tried to get a pardon from the governor and threatened the governor's life in Illinois, and I had police come to my door.
We have a young man that's now 35 that's pointing to an isolated incident at 28 where you called 911 on him because you were afraid he was in meltdown, and he is now blaming everything going wrong in his life on that one incident.
Yes.
So how you reckon he's going to get along with me?
He's not going to get along with you at all, Doctor.
No. Why not?
Because you're going to point out things that he will deny.
Well, we're going to find out because Tim is here, and Tim says he will spit on his mother's casket. Does he really hate her that much? Take a look.
Tim hates me because of this conviction. He blames me for everything. Tim says he does not have anger issues, but I have emails and text messages that prove otherwise.
My mom has thought I needed anger management since I was 26 years old.
Tim calls me most horrible names on voicemails.
You stupid idiot. You are so stupid.
I've called my mom names out of frustration and pain.
When Tim calls me these names, I consistently block him from texts or phone calls.
I overreacted to get someone's attention, and that was the only thing that seemed to garner a response.
Tim told me he's going to burn my house down. He's going to sue me, and I could kiss my retirement goodbye.
There was one time I actually said I wanted to burn her house down, but I didn't specify with her in it. But that's not like a recurring thing.
One night, the doorbell rang, and on the front porch was a tarp. I brought the tarp inside the house, unfolded it, and on the tarp were spray painted big letters, you.
I'm not angry in any way whatsoever.
They go, you married? That man deserves to die.
I have problems with my mother, but I have not had any of those problems with anyone else.
So y'all have not seen each other in 2 years?
Give or take a few months.
Okay, it's been a while.
Yes.
Do you want to have a relationship with your mother?
That would be not possible given the situation. Unless the situation gets rectified, there's just no way.
Okay, and describe the situation for me in your words.
Well, I came from a house where I was afraid my entire life. It's just a nightmare. It is a nightmare. I have not been able to get a job because of this charge and because I am not top-notch at interviewing anymore.
I think that Tim doesn't have a job because he feels he's entitled and makes up excuses.
My mom is going to make it seem like it's just about jobs, and it's not. It's about happiness.
People with this conviction do get jobs. They do have a life.
I always believed that my mom would do the right thing. So far, nothing. My mother has been disappointing in that respect.
Well, what were you doing on that day that resulted in her calling the police, whether it was a right decision or a wrong decision? I mean, you weren't just there talking like we're talking right now, and she just said, well, you know what, I think I'll call the police on him. What was going on that made her think she needed to call the police?
She came in my room, and I just got off work, and I knew she was coming. I heard her coming up the stairs. I knew she was going to open my door. I knew she was going to start nagging me and back and forth, and I'm just sitting in my chair like this. And I honestly, that's the best answer I can give, because I just don't know. I don't understand why she insisted on nagging and nagging. It's not even nagging at that point. It's harassment. It's provocation. And that is what confuses me a lot about this.
Well, you know what confuses me? Is you were 28.
Yes, I was. She had given me a deadline to move out by June 1st, and then that night when she came in, she hands me this fake eviction notice, and 2 weeks before that, she's telling me I had to move out by June 1st. I just didn't understand. She's just creating issues.
My point is, why not move out when you were 27 or 26 or 25 or 24 or 23 or 22 or 21? Why were you still there at 28?
I had no money I had to live somewhere. I mean, so who am I supposed to go to?
Get 4 roommates and live in a cheap apartment somewhere?
And I did that a month and 3 days after this incident occurred. And it was well known amongst all of us that I was moving out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really understand.
But did you put yourself in the situation by living with a woman that was harassing you?
Did I put myself in a situation? No. I mean, she's my mother.
You said she lied to the police.
She blew it up.
Did you throw her phone?
Yes, I lobbed it underhand into the yard across the street.
Why did you do it?
So she would stop harassing me. I mean, I'm trying to leave at this time as well. Like when I threw it, I'm also trying to leave and just get out of the house. Like I don't even know if I would ever come back that night.
But why take her phone and throw it?
Because she's calling people. This was a matter that could have been handled internally. I mean, I don't understand. This is
what gives you the right to take someone's phone, someone's personal property, away from them forcibly and throw it?
Well,
what gives you that right?
Nothing gives me that right.
But you did it.
But what gives her the right to make some calls that she shouldn't be making?
She's a grown woman in her own house on her own phone. She can call anybody she wants and say anything she wants to say.
So she can call 911 at any time.
Yes. She can. It doesn't mean that it's reasonable, but she has that right, just as you do. You could pick up your phone and call 911 at any time and say, my mother's acting really irrationally and unreasonable, and I don't pay attention to her when she calls you. You can do whatever you want. You could call anybody.
But she's my mother.
Right.
The whole thing, I didn't want to get my mother in trouble. Like, I mean, I don't understand.
The 911 operator actually called me back twice because he hung up the phone. So when he says I called, they called me back, and that's when he followed me outside.
I did not follow you.
Grabbed
I'm
the
leaving the
phone
house.
behind-
There's only one door.
Came behind me and threw the phone as hard as he could.
I've told your production team I'm here for one specific reason, that is to get my name cleared of this conviction, because I would never harbor any physical or any emotional violence towards my mom. I was merely trying to separate us that night.
Okay, well,
I was the one being the adult that night.
This is the police report of that night. This is your narrative. You say, Timothy continued to argue, and Timothy placed his hand on Kathy's back and physically pushed her near the doorway. Then he pushed the bedroom door against her body, causing Kathy to be pushed out of the bedroom. That's what you told police. Then here's what you said. You said, Timothy stated he wanted Kathy to leave his room, so he closed the bedroom door. Timothy stated, I really didn't think the door bumped her.
I was just holding my door shut.
But then in court, which I can't believe this went to court,
I went to
surprising
court
to me.
because I trusted my mother.
Yeah. So here's the attorney. He's cross-examining you, and he says, and you were so upset that you decided to push your mom out of the room, correct? You said, I was upset for other reasons than that. I mean, that really isn't the reason I pushed. I tried to get her out of my room that night. The attorney, okay, but you did push her out of the room. Tim, non-violently, yes. The attorney, okay, and that was you used your arm, correct? Yes, I'm sorry. The attorney says, and you put your arm on her back, correct? On her on her shoulder, okay? And you pushed her towards the door, correct? Yes. Because you wanted the incident to just be over. You said just wanted, correct, to be left alone.
Yes.
Okay.
But as far as pushing her with violent intent, which is what court is based around, I had no intent of any of this. It's blowing my mind that we're here right now talking about this.
Okay, coming up, Kathy hasn't seen her daughter in almost 2 years, same as with Tim. We're going to meet her and find out why she sides with her brother and says there's a problem here, and it is not her brother. She says it is her mother. We'll be right back.
Okay, so it seems like there's a domestic violence incident where the mom, Kathy, called the cops. It went to court. Now Tim has a felony. It's affecting his ability to get jobs. She keeps saying that people with felonies can get work, but come on. People with felonies often struggle to get hired because employers don't often want to hire felons. This is a known thing, so I don't know why the felony's impact on his life is being downplayed. It would have a massive impact on his life. Him still living at home with her when he was 28, that could mean something or it could mean nothing. He said he didn't have any money, he didn't have a job. I wonder if there was some learned helplessness there. When I was 28, I was still living with my mom, but because I had been she had intentionally put me in a situation where she wanted me to be completely dependent on her. That included financial dependence and abuse. So it's possible something weird was going on there, or it's possible he was just a lazy bum who didn't want to leave, but he was leaving. And I think it's ridiculous to call the cops because he guided her. I mean, the word push was used, but just to get her out of the room and close the door, I feel like it's not a violent act. The fact that this went to court and he was cross-examined is wild to me.
I don't think my daughter Jill loves me or cares about me anymore. Since 2014, I've spent over $30,000 in school tuition, student loans. She feels that she's entitled to money. I would get a phone call buttering me up. Hey mom, you got a couple $100, I'm having trouble paying the electric bill. I did give her the $200 and I never received a thank you. So the next time she texted me that she needed money, I told her no more. And when I did that, she unfriended me on Facebook. I haven't heard from her in a year and a half.
Well, Kathy doesn't have a relationship with either of her adult children. Kathy called 911 on her son Tim 7 years ago. He resents his mother for doing that. He resents his mother for nagging him and not supporting him. Her daughter Jill says her mother lied to her for years, telling her that Tim had been violent, and then changed her story. Take a look.
My mom is very narcissistic and manipulative. Growing up, I never had that friendly daughter-mom relationship that I really wanted. She can come across as a very sweet person, but she has a lot of selfish tendencies. She was just very hard on Tim. She was very judgmental. She wanted to control him. For years, my mother had led me to believe that he had become physically violent with her. At the time, I had a much closer relationship with my mom. I never imagined that she would lie about something like this. For years after the incident, I did not talk to my brother. Over time, my brother, he had been texting me. When I was in grad school, I started to piece things together. I'm like, there's something wrong here. So that's why I wanted to go back there to investigate and try to help my brother. 3 years ago, my mom came clean with me and told me that she had exaggerated the whole situation and that he did not physically harm her. I began to think, who is this woman? How could she do this to her own son? Tim was never a violent person. He never got into a fight with anybody. I don't think that my mom has come clean to the family yet, and for that reason, they have alienated my brother. Tim hates my mom for what she's done, and I really don't blame him.
Did she tell you that he had been violent with her?
Yes, the day after the incident, she told me that he had pushed her and slammed her in a door. And that's not what happened.
Are you saying that's what happened? Are you saying that he physically attacked you and flung you out of the room?
I never said he physically attacked me. I just said he pushed me behind the door and he pushed me.
Slammed you in a door.
Slammed the door.
Slammed you in a door.
And not in the door,
Yes.
but against me.
Okay.
When you look at what the judge said about this, on count 2, that did he knowingly and without legal justification make physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with his mother? He testified he pushed his mother away from the door with his hands. It certainly was an insulting or provoking nature. If you get into an argument with someone that does not give you the right to push them, therefore, on count 2, I will find the defendant guilty.
But it was never disclosed in court that she actually was the one who instigated provocation and harassment that night, and insulting too.
But you testified in court.
I was new to court. I didn't know what was going on.
Did you represent yourself in court?
I did. But because this was my mother, and because the events that transpired that night were so common in that household, I never in my wildest dreams thought that would happen, and I never in my wildest dreams thought my mother would just not even throw away the key, destroy the key.
Okay, well, the court, on count 1, the court notes that your mother did say that her son did not really physically harm her. She said into the court record that her son did not physically harm her. So I think it is correct to point out that he doesn't cause any bodily harm to his mother. So on that count, I find him not guilty.
For years, his record said bodily harm. You could search his record and it said bodily harm.
That is correct.
But I still was given the bodily harm.
Well,
we still hired lawyers to try and help me with this, and they saw the bodily harm.
Okay.
And I just,
But that was a clerk error.
well, it still shows up in a database that people look at. We saw it online. I mean, you could call it a typo, but
Okay.
that's just so
look,
unfair.
I can't change what the clerk did or didn't do. What I can do is say right here on national television publicly that I've read the record, and the record says that the court found you not guilty of causing bodily harm to your mother.
Okay.
What you were found guilty of was interfering with a 911 call.
Yes.
And for pushing her out of the room.
I didn't push.
Tim and Jill claim that their stepfather was verbally and physically abusive to them, and their mother did nothing. We're going to talk about that and add him to the conversation after the break.
My mother didn't provide a comfortable environment for my brother and I to grow up in because she brought this man into her house, Vince, who just didn't like us. He became physically violent, but mainly was just very emotionally abusive.
Vince has physically abused me a couple times. One time he had pinned me up against the wall, and the second time he pressed me into a cabinet, pushed me up We had an indent on our cabinet and left me with a cut under my eye.
Vince is a wonderful husband, but he's not a good stepfather. Vince could have made a better effort to be kinder to my children. There was one incident where my husband was trying to teach Tim how to load the dishwasher, and Tim made a snotty remark. My husband grabbed Tim by the shirt, pushed him against the cabinet, and was screaming at him. I got frightened, so I called 911.
There was a time Vince pulled a knife on me with the intent to at least scare me. I was in years of therapy afterward, and my mother will say it was just a butter knife. It's not the fact that it was just a butter knife, it's how he held it and how he looked at me. Menacing. He was bad enough to the point where I had recurring nightmares.
When I was around 16, my stepfather became violent with me because I would not drink a shake. I had been suffering from anorexia at the time and I wasn't comfortable. Vince dragged me down the stairs by my hair. Vince threw me on the ground. He was standing over me, grabbing my wrists and shaking me and saying he was going to kill me. You know, I thought, that's pretty psychotic.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, I don't think it's possible to be a great husband, but a bad stepfather in this situation. If he's a bad stepfather to his wife's children, that should also cause him to be classified as a bad husband. I'm sorry, you're not going to abuse my children and call yourself a good husband to me. How is that a good spouse? It turns out he did not commit any act of violence against his mom. Tim did not. But his mom's husband has committed acts of violence against him and his sister. And I don't think his mom called the cops on him for that. And I don't think the husband has any felonies, but her son Tim has a felony on his record now for pushing his mom out of his room and closing the door. But it sounds like it was not really push. It's not like shoving. It's just like, hey, leave. Just, hey, let me guide you out and leave is how it sounds to me. He represented himself in court. Oh, no. The answers he gave in court when he was being cross-examined, I'm looking at this thinking, no, you're screwing yourself over. He got railroaded, in my opinion. That's how it looks to me.
Kathy's husband, Vince, admits to being stern and a yeller towards the kids, but says he just wanted to bring some order into his house. Vince says Jill and Tim are just Gen Xers with an attitude.
Tim thinks that Kathy ruined his life, but really what happened wasn't Kathy's fault. Tim also blames me for his anger issues. I disagree with that. When I met Tim and Jill, they seemed to be little punks. Tim and Jill both talked back to me. I was brought up in a strict household. My dad was a drill sergeant. You didn't get away with stuff like that. There wasn't really major fights until they got to the teenage years. This one time there was an argument between Jill and Tim. Tim got angry at me, which made me push him into a cabinet, which made Kathy call the police. Of course, I didn't push him hard because I didn't want to break the cabinet. I don't think I was abusive. Might have been because of the generation or how I was brought up, and for that I'm sorry. I never hit them with a closed fist. I never even spanked them. We were good parents to those kids. We provided for them.
At this point in time, Tim needs to just grow up.
Where in the parenting handbook, driving a kid's head into the side of a cabinet, where does that fall?
Nowhere.
Because he's not loading the dishwasher right?
I think that one was the argument between Tim and Jill that got that one. But it was, I got mad at him.
You grab one of my kids and drive their head into the side of a cabinet, we got a problem.
I did have a problem.
That's not.
I did have a problem.
That's not okay.
No, it's not okay.
Why was that? Was that okay with you?
Absolutely not. I called 911 when that occurred. I had him taken out of the house.
And that was worse than anything I've ever done to you. And anything I ever would do to you.
Never become physically. He never laid a hand on my mom.
Trumps everything I've ever done to you right there. And it literally scarred me for life. Like, you've admitted to him in front of me. He's afraid of you. You've been in tears.
Why do you continue to choose that kind of behavior with me?
I haven't.
You say you hate that behavior, and I hate it too. But you continue to be verbally abusive and angry. I am tired of it.
I'm sorry. I've gone to you my whole life, and I have told you I'm afraid of your husband, and you have rationalized it every single time. That's how his father raised him. That's how his father raised him. When does it get to the point? When does it get to the point where how he raised me?
When does it get to a point where you grow up and you accept,
I've been grown up the whole time, Mom.
That happened, but I'm not going to be that way.
I graduated college with all honors. I mean,
when does that happen, Tim?
It already has happened.
No, this has been going on for 7 years.
You had me convicted as an adult.
Verbal abuse of constant. And the reason I cut you and block you off the phone is just swear at me and call me names. I've had it.
You instigate every single time.
That is not.
How many times did I apologize to you, Mom?
Your
How many times
apologies
did I
mean
apologize
nothing
to you after I
because
called
you
your name?
continue to do it.
I was convicted for the remainder of my life.
Your
I
apologies
apologize
mean
for being
nothing to me anymore.
You send a message to her and you say, I can say whatever the blank I want to someone who falsely convicted me. It's a free pass, lifetime. Then you say, anyways, I have something to look forward to, you dying. I am actually going to smile. The next day you say, when I'm over your casket, I'm going to blanking spit on you. I'll do it in front of the entire family. I really hope it's soon. Blank you, fat blank, good morning. Why are you sending this kind of message to your mother?
Because it's inappropriate, and I'm sorry.
Do you have any ownership in what happened that night?
No. I mean, you're asking me for ownership. I mean, I have ownership in the sense that I yelled, and I'm apologetic. I know the fear. I know the fear you had that night. I had it my whole life.
I was there that night.
You were in your chair in the corner that night.
You
doing
did,
nothing.
you did nothing to.
You were watching
defuse
it
the
happen.
situation.
You might as well have popcorn in your lap.
Because I was told, whatever happens, don't get involved.
And now
I was the one that
your
said-
wife that you love is missing.
I was the one that
what is
told
supposed to be
them
the
that.
two most important things in her life have been gone, and you have done nothing. You have not gotten involved because you do not care. You do not love your wife's children. You wanted us out of the house. I respect.
If he didn't love you, he wouldn't be here.
Coming up, Kathy says her kids are spoiled because her ex-husband gave them everything they ever wanted. We'll meet him now.
Okay, so it's not acceptable for him to be sending her these vulgar, harassing messages, but I understand where his anger comes from. I mean, she was a neglectful and abusive parent. She brought an abuser into their lives, and when they said, we are afraid of him, she did nothing. That's neglect. And when he abused them, he's still in their lives. That's neglect, and neglect because you're allowing someone to abuse your child. If you are allowing that, you are also an abuser. So I think all of these text messages comes from the pent up rage, which comes from the pain of being betrayed by his own mother, who brought an abuser into his life, who clearly does not like him, does not want him and his sister around, who treated them this way. And this was during his developmental period. So this would have disrupted his emotional development. I don't think he should be sending her these text messages. I think if he wants to say this to her, he should say it once and then be done and cut her off completely, because she has negatively impacted his entire life. If this is a lifetime felony, that's crazy.
My father's my only financial support.
My dad is basically keeping my brother alive, but not helping him move forward with his life. He is actually making it worse because he doesn't take what my brother has to say seriously, and they often get into arguments. My dad is very distant. He'll give him money, but he won't provide emotional support that he really needs.
He has said to me once, I just figure one day you're going to wake up and you're going to get over it. That's scary to me because that day's not going to come.
Well, Kathy says her son has been verbally abusive since he was convicted of domestic battery 7 years ago. She says both of her children are so mad at her they haven't spoken to her in almost 2 years until today. She says her father Patrick has a lot to do with their behavior, but he disagrees. Let's hear from him.
Tim lives as a recluse. He never really goes out of his apartment, never interacts with people. He can't live a productive life. He can't develop relationships. I hear a lot of people say, just suck it up and move on. I've come to realize that Tim can't suck it up. It's not that he won't, he can't. For some ungodly reason, Kathy appears to me to be a potential key to this entire situation. If she would just come forward and say, Tim, I love you. I'm sorry this occurred. I didn't realize the implications. Maybe that situation would get a little bit better. Tim needs his mother in his life. I think her intentions were misguided. She seemed to use a sledgehammer to just drive in a little tack. Way overkill. She just wanted to get him into anger management, but she also got him convicted of domestic battery. Hey, the guy was working, and he didn't have a police record, and things were going good. Boy, I wish we were back at that point of time now. I know Kathy had called me an enabler, but at this point in time, I'm just trying to keep him warm and fed until he can find a way to take that next step, flick that switch, and start getting out, meeting people, and get out of the reclusive shell he's in right now. If I drop dead tonight, he's on the street. You know, and that scares the crap out of me.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. You've been listening to everything we've been talking about so
certainly
far.
have.
What can you add to this situation?
I want to get one thing straight first. I mean, Kathy, you and I had a couple of conversations 4 or 5 years ago over the phone, and I clearly remember you saying, if I had any idea the implications of this charge, I would have never called the police. Maybe I should have divorced Vince. I knew he was bad for the kids and they were afraid of him. And I think that this whole situation over the years, she's always been in the middle. She's got a husband that barely tolerates the stepkids, and she's got kids that presumably she loves. And that's got to be a very tough situation to be in. And it didn't turn out real well.
If you had this to do over again, would you do it differently?
I would definitely do it differently.
All right. So you're sorry you made that choice.
I am so sorry, and I have apologized to him.
I've never been able to respond because you just kept me blocked.
Well, I kept you blocked because of the name calling.
And I called you names because you kept me blocked.
Do you believe her when she says that she is sorry that she made the choice she made on that night?
Oh, absolutely. But sometimes when you're sorry, you have to show you're sorry.
She actually wrote to everybody she could write to.
No, she did. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, she did. I have copies of the letters from her attorney, and from her. She wrote to the governor, said, "My name is Catherine, and I'm the mother of Timothy," I'm leaving out the last names, "who is seeking a full pardon and permanent removal from his misdemeanor battery conviction from April 28, 2011. The purpose of this letter is to assure you and the Board of Review that my son Timothy is not a violent person. He has never been physically violent toward me or anyone else. Tim was residing at my home back on that date when there was a verbal argument between him and myself. Our emotions escalated. The police were called. I did not realize at the time that something like this would be on his criminal record for the rest of his life." You said she has never asked. Yes, she has. And she's had attorneys to write. And, I would be willing to write the governor, but didn't you threaten him?
I was upset. Yeah, it was an online forum. And I didn't get the pardon, and we were met with no opposition in this hearing.
I'm going to take a break, and during the break, I'm going to ask all of these parental units to vacate because I want to have just a few minutes to talk to Tim and Jill just alone for a minute before we end here. So we'll be right back. Well, I'm back with Tim and Jill, and I've asked Mother Kathy, Stepfather Vince, and Bio Dad Patrick to leave because I wanted to talk to you two without the distraction of those three. The past is over. The future hasn't happened yet. The only time is now. And you have 20 misdemeanors on your record. They're all insignificant. I mean, they're like traffic this and
not the greatest driver.
No, they're traffic this and expired insurance, and I mean, we've all got those things, which is probably pretty good because it kind of hides in there for now. Seriously, no, I'm serious. I'm serious. It does kind of hide in there, and there are actually laws about this, and misdemeanors are not exclusionary criteria, but nonetheless, if it is what it is, and if that means that you just need to become entrepreneurial and do your own thing, then you need to do your own thing. But the point is, you cannot spend the rest of your life fighting to get it cleared. You may never get it cleared. In the meantime, you've got to put the rest of your life together. You've got to get back in the game. You have people that are willing to help you.
Thank you.
Seriously. And you do need some help with this. One of the things you need is a life coach. You need a life coach that will coach you like an athlete, that will coach you into getting back into the game.
It's not like I haven't worked throughout this thing. I had jobs. I worked in Washington, D.C. I worked in Schaumburg, Illinois.
But you know what one of your jobs is? To let go of the pain.
You're constantly reminded of it. I mean, no, I just...
Part of it is to let go of the pain, give yourself the right to be happy again, give yourself the right to have some joy again. You got to forgive this woman, because if you don't, you're just trapped and stuck. But I want to help you with that.
There's no way I'm ever going to forgive her. It's just not going to happen.
That's not true. And you don't know how to do that yet, but that's what I'm saying. I'm going to get you the help so you know how to do that.
I do know how to do it.
No, you don't, or you would be doing it.
I would have went to college. I graduated college. I worked my ass off. I got out. I was looking for jobs, couldn't find a job, and then all of a sudden, she was unhappy with me waiting tables, so she decides that's enough grounds to get mad at me and call the police. And I'm telling the truth right now, and they're laughing at me. I mean,
no,
literally,
they're not laughing at you.
But literally, that night was one of 1,000, probably more. I mean, my whole life is mocked. My life was mocked.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. That was then. This is now. You got to learn to rise above your raisin. Help you now, because I think you can make some great strides. I think you can turn this around, and I think in a reasonably short period of time, the world can look very different to you if you're willing to take a leap of faith and do some things that I want to arrange for you to do. I think you'll find them very stimulating, very intriguing. I would like for you to do some workshops at a place called Onsite in Nashville, Tennessee, that are really intensive workshops for people that have been through some of the trauma that you've been through. And I'm saying to both of you, I want both of you to do this. I will pay to fly you there. I will cover everything while you're there. I would like you to start doing these things. And if it's of no value as a jump start, then you're no worse off than where you were. But I think you deserve to do that. And you're saying this isn't helping. These people are encouraging you.
I don't really want to go to Nashville.
Well, I understand, but I want you to think about it, and I want you guys to talk about it.
Oh, he needs to do
You're letting
things.
someone who is clearly has major problems with denial, major problems with her children for I don't even know why. She'll literally tell me until I.
I'm letting her what?
She says to me, until I see.
No, I'm letting her what?
You're letting her get away with it. I might be wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to jump to conclusions. I maybe misspoke there, but.
I'm not letting her do anything. I'm focusing on helping you.
I understand that. But what I'm telling you is this conviction is the only roadblock. Other than that, I'm ready to
The
go.
way you see it now, Tim.
Well, and I told you I'll help you with that too.
Okay.
Okay? All right?
So in this episode, we have Tim and his mother, Kathy. 7 years ago, Kathy called the cops on Tim. She got him charged with a felony. It's on his record now. They went to court and everything. He represented himself in court, and he did not actually do anything. It sounds like he did not physically assault her. There was no domestic battery. The word push was used a lot, that he kind of like pushed her out of his room and closed the door, and she called the cops for that. Meanwhile, it sounds like her husband spent at least a solid decade terrorizing and abusing her children, of which he has not really made any real apology for. It does seem like Kathy recognizes the error of her ways at this point. She wrote to the governor asking for him to remove this conviction from his record, to give him a pardon. The pardon did not work. And then Tim went and threatened the governor. So, I mean, if he's expecting a pardon down the road, I don't know if that's going to happen now. He's already on record having threatened the governor. Tim definitely has anger issues, and I'm not surprised. I mean, it sounds like he grew up in an environment with violence, abuse that was verbal, emotional, and physical, and the feeling of betrayal. I understand that feeling quite well, of having a mother who brought a man into my life who was abusive towards me, and she was very aware of the abuse and stood by and did nothing, and forced me to continue living in a home with that man. So I understand the feelings of pain and betrayal and helplessness that then turns into rage and anger. And he's just walking around carrying all of that around, and it's not helping him. I think that if he wants to go no contact with his mother, he can go no contact with his mother, but then stop texting her. Stop texting her these harassing messages. That's not no contact. You are in contact. Stop. Like, if you want to cut her off completely, just cut her off. Don't abuse and harass her on a continual basis. The fact that neither of Kathy's children wants to have a relationship with her, I think should, to her, be a red flag about her parenting. Because typically, you're not going to see all the kids cut their parent off, their mom off for no reason, and the mom is just completely innocent and perfect. Both of them feel like they should not have her in their lives, that she cannot be trusted, that she has betrayed them, and I think she should actually develop some curiosity and try to understand why they feel that way. But either way, I think Tim needs to get up, empower himself, and start moving forward in his life. And like Dr. Phil said, he could become an entrepreneur. He's saying he can't get hired. Okay, freelance work. Can you do that? Or do you have any artistic ability? Can you turn that into a profession? I'm a content creator. He can do that from home. He can do that in his room. He's already on TV. Might as well film himself. But you guys let me know what you thought about this episode. What do you think about Kathy and her calling the police on her son? Do you think that it was warranted, that she had a good reason to call the cops? Do you think that she was wrong and it never should have gotten as far as court? What do you think about this charge affecting Tim's life and his future and his ability to get hired? What do you think about Kathy allowing this husband to come in and abuse and terrorize her children and sit here and say he's a good husband but a bad stepfather? Is that even possible, to be both of those at the same time? What do you think about his sister Jill? She sides with her brother and also wants nothing to do with the mom. And the dad is either helping Tim or enabling Tim. One of those two. What do you think Tim needs to do to move forward in his life? He's definitely holding on to his anger and not letting it go, so he's stuck. And he needs to move forward if he wants to have a life for himself, or he could sit here and just be right and validated in his anger and do nothing, and then he'll have nothing. But you guys let me know what you thought about this and what you think should be done moving forward. Drop it in the comments.